The Watchers return. In a forgotten valley, long abandoned by time and memory, a group of archaeologists uncovered the remnants of an ancient city. Its stone structures, towering and half-crushed under centuries of soil and rock, hinted at a once great civilization. But what caught the attention of the expedition's leader, Dr. Abigail Stone, wasn't the city itself. It was the massive, weather-worn tablets found beneath the rubble. The inscriptions upon them told of a race of beings that had come down from the heavens, giants who once roamed the earth in a time before human history began. The tablets spoke of the Nephilim, the offspring of the fallen angels, the Watchers, who had taken human wives in defiance of divine will. According to the ancient text, these giants were not just large in stature, but in power, imbued with unnatural strength, and with a darkness that seemed to emanate from the very earth beneath their feet. They were said to have ruled with terror, their very presence causing the earth to quake and the skies to darken. As Dr. Stone and her team deciphered the symbols, a growing sense of dread began to permeate the air. The valley, once silent, now seemed to hum with a deep, unsettling energy. That night, as they camped near the ruins, an oppressive silence settled over them. No birds, no insects, nothing. Only the whisper of the wind through the skeletal remains of the city. Around midnight, one of the team members, James, went missing. His tent, untouched and still set up, was found with a single footprint. A foot so large it could not belong to any human. The print was deep, as if something massive had crushed the earth beneath it. The next day, as they searched the surrounding forest, they stumbled upon an ancient altar. Carved into its surface were images of beings. Tall, broad, their faces twisted in agony, their eyes glowing with a predatory hunger. At the center of the altar, however, lay a stone tablet, cracked and weathered with age. Its surface was unlike the others, dark, oily, and almost alive, pulsating faintly under the light. "These are the Watchers," Dr. Stone whispered, as she studied the symbols. "The Nephilim's parents." But even as she spoke the words, she felt something stir in the distance. Something alive. The ground trembled, and a low, guttural sound echoed through the trees. The team froze, fear clutching their hearts. It was as if the earth itself was waking. The next moments passed in chaos. A figure, towering and monstrous, appeared at the edge of the forest. At first, it was a shadow, only a blur of movement. But then it stepped into the clearing. It was no myth, no trick of light. Before them stood a creature as ancient as time itself. A giant, covered in armor of blackened stone and leather, with glowing eyes that pierced through the darkness like twin suns. Its breath was a low growl, a sound that rumbled through the very ground beneath their feet. The Nephilim had returned. The creature moved with unnatural speed, faster than any human could react. It reached out, and in a single swipe, tore through the trees, sending them crashing to the ground like twigs. The team scattered, but the giant's eyes locked onto Dr. Stone. She could feel its gaze piercing her, knowing her name without her uttering a sound. The Watchers had been waiting for centuries, dormant in the forgotten corners of the world, until the human hands uncovered the truth they had buried so long ago. In a flash, the creature was upon her, lifting her by the collar of her jacket and staring down at her with eyes filled not just with malice, but with an unearthly sadness. It was as if it had been bound, waiting for this moment, a moment to reclaim what had been stolen from them, dominion over the earth. The Nephilim had not been banished, only hidden away, and now they had risen once more. With a monstrous roar, the giant threw her to the ground. Her body collided with the earth, and for a moment, everything went dark. When she regained consciousness, the valley was eerily silent again. The others were gone. There were no traces of their bodies, no signs of struggle, just the vast emptiness that seemed to have swallowed them whole. But the ground was no longer still. It moved, alive with a strange, dark pulse, just beneath the surface, as if the earth itself was watching her, waiting. Dr. Stone knew then what the giants had left behind. Not a city, but a prison. A prison for the earth itself. The Nephilim had returned not to rule, but to consume. And now, their eyes were on the world once again. As she stood in the ruins, the last remnants of humanity seemed to flicker in her mind. But it was fading, like a dying star in the sky, and then the ground trembled once more.